right, well, since we just did a thing of Snatch Chat here, let's get into what we really were into here.
Okay. That wasn't it?
No.
Okay.
We were going to talk about your book, the Turbo book.
Yes.
And you've been recording the audio book.
I have.
And you sent over some of your fuck-up tracks.
Yeah. I mean, this was a popular segment when we did it with the Motley Crue book, and there's no shortage of fuck-ups on this one. Dude, it's just so difficult to do. And I am so picky about how things sound. You know, how my voice sounds. And I don't want... I really work very hard on this to not sound like I'm just reading.
Yeah, you don't want to sound all monotone. You got to have inflection. You got to have expression. You got to enunciate correctly, or at least get the point across through your verbal. Your verbal inflections.
And I just don't want it to sound like Judas Priest recorded the album Turbo in 1986.
Yeah, you don't want to sound like Jennifer.
No, not at all. I want it to sound like, I mean, everybody knows that I'm reading it, but at the same time, I want it to sound like how it sounds when it's rattling around in my head, being spit onto the paper.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to give it that kind of a read. So I go back and continually, you know, if I feel like something isn't right, I do it again.
Right.
But the problem that I have is, and I think it's becoming more and more of a problem with every one of these books that I'm doing, is I really fucking hate doing the audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's painful. It's 15, 20 minutes doing the read, and then it's another 40 minutes editing it.
Right.
Because I'm very cautious about having the right space between sentences and not having too much gap and not having words that I'm stumbling over at all, you know, and I'll be honest, I stumble over a fucking shitload of words.
Well, you're creating a product.
True.
Yeah. So you're trying to make it a flawless product.
I am. And the one thing that drives me craziest about it is that I get going too fast because I don't want to be sitting here. So I want to be done with it. So I get to being like, well, Judas Priest Turbo came out in 1986, and then it was released in 1986 as well on March 14th, blah, blah, you know, and I start going too fast and I start stumbling over fucking words. And then I get frustrated. And then I'm like, you fucking idiot, you know, slow down, you know. So, but I try to save them. I try to save some of the better fuck-ups just because I think it's funny. It's funny in this context to use, you know, to show people that, hey, you know, not that I'm trying to make a sales pitch or anything like this, but for those of you that are buying the book, or the audio book rather, you can at least hear that I really am putting in some effort to give you a decent product, because I am just fucking up left and right and cleaning it up so that you get a quality product at the end of the day.
Right. Well, I got to tell you, just from recent experience,
mm-hmm.
you know, sitting in front of your computer is one thing, and, you know, reading the script, as it were.
Sure.
But doing a video thing, that's even worse. I mean, when I had to record, you know, with our commercial experience of trying to take on some sponsors, and they wanted a video read.
Sure.
Trying to look into the camera and then also, you know, have some talking points without it looking like you're looking at a script.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's really tough.
It's definitely, you almost, I think I have the solution to that. If you want to try this on the next, if you ever have to do this again.
Yeah.
You put the cam right square in the middle of your fucking monitor.
Yeah.
And you look directly, and you put the text directly in the middle of your screen.
Yeah, I tried that, but the only problem is, especially with the video, is that the screen is reflecting off your face.
Right.
You know, and you're trying to do it to where your face isn't all lit up like a ghost.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're trying to cut down on the on the blinding screen and reading off the screen and looking into the camera like you're being a sincere sales pitch person, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not as easy as it looks. And to be sitting there trying to read your own words of a book and make it sound interesting to the listener.
Right.
It's tough.
Right. And I know what I'm trying to say. So that's a whole nother issue. And you'll hear it in some of these clips where I'll read a sentence and it sounds right. And then I just get frustrated because it's not the words that I just said are not the words that are actually on the fucking screen.
So you're almost ad-libbing.
Yeah, it's like, well, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be delivering these words, and instead it's like, I wrote that shit 4 months ago. It might have changed a little bit in my own head.
Right.
And then I just go, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's not the words I said. And then sentences that are too long, and I don't like to edit, and that's a whole nother thing. I tend to write longer sentences, and I will not, for the very, very most part, I would say on a 98% scale, I will not cut and paste a sentence together. If I get to the last word of a sentence and I fuck it up, I start over because I don't like the sound of when it's cut and pasted. And I've listened to too many audiobooks where you can hear the cuts, where you can just hear
you hear the edits.
Yeah, and I don't like that. I want it to sound like I'm just telling a story.
Yeah, it's smooth.
Yeah, and so I do that a lot as well. So I find these funny. Maybe people do, maybe they don't, but I think these are pretty funny. Some
All right.
of them.
Well, the first one here is called Back in Those Days.
Yeah, all of these are just. It's like whatever the words that I was fucking up. That's what I called them.
Okay. Well, let's check out the first one here.
Back in those days, you could buy your girlfriend and you a burger. Try again. Back in those days, you could buy yourself. Fuck! Come on.
I've done the same thing.
It fucking sucks.
It's just like, fuck!
Yeah, it's like, God damn it, just read the fucking words.
Like, back in those days, you could buy yourself and your girl a burger. But it's back in those days.
Back,
All right, this next one is just called Dio.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
You had Dio on stage slaying a dry... Fuck! You had Dio on stage slaying a dry...
Can't say dragon?
Yeah.
Slaying a dry.
I'm trying to say giant dragon.
Oh, okay. So, but you just want to go directly to dragon.
I'm like just pushing them both together.
Just can't say giant.
Yep.
All right. This one is called First and Foremost.
Okay.
First and most noticeably, both Reckless and Wild Nights Hot and Crazy Days are too... Fuck! First and you stupid fuck.
Believe me, I know how that goes. I've done that right here in the studio.
It sucks, doesn't it?
It does. It sucks.
It's so frustrating.
Those are the times when I've had to record things like that to where I have to get up and like walk around the room a couple of times. And then you sit back down and you try it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do that, dude. Or I'll get up and I'll go find my glasses or something like, oh, well, maybe it's because my vision's blurry. And meanwhile, it has nothing to do with it. I just fucking am stupid.
Yeah. All right. This one is just called Generally.
Okay.
Generally, there'd be about 15 to 20 of us. Generally, there'd be about 15 to 20 of us that would get together there. No, come on. Generally, there'd be about 15 to 20 of us that would get together.
It's like you have to talk to yourself to get your mind where it needs to be.
Exactly.
Come on. I know you can do it. It's like, who are you talking to? I'm talking to my head.
Yeah, you've got it in you. Come on.
All right. This was called Hairspray.
All right.
There was something cool about the way the chicks would do the headbanging during those years, with the only extended part. There was something cool about the way chicks would do the headbanging during those years, with only the extended part of their hair flailing around because the top half was so overly sprayed or moosed.
Look at Chris Aiken. Were you taking tips from Nader?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. This one is called Heavy Metal Parking Lot. I'm assuming that's what this is.
Yeah.
Okay, parking lot.
Yep.
The touring also sparked the filming of the cult classic documentary Heavy Metal Parking Lot, which was shot in the parking lot of the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, before the Priest show.
Remember a few years ago, I can't remember how long, maybe a decade or more, some chick went to some show there at that place and she ended up disappearing.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they found her like, I don't know, a month or so later, and they found her like in a ditch on the side of a road or something.
Yeah.
Something horrific.
Yeah, something terrible.
Yeah. I think it might have been a Judas Priest show or something like that.
Metallica.
Metallica? Yeah, it was Metallica. You're right.
Yep.
Terrible.
That sucks.
All right. This one is called Lime Green.
Okay.
Still, I can remember sitting on the edge of an open trunk of my lime green. How about you read the words, you dumb motherfucker?
Again, who are we talking to?
Yeah, I know. You're just trying to convince yourself.
You're talking to that gnome in your head.
Yeah, I'm just trying to convince myself to do it right.
Exactly. This one is called McDouble.
Okay.
In fact, it only seemed to have appeal to that small group of us that gathered for a McDouble. You can't read for fuck today. In fact, it only seemed to have appeal to that small group of us that gathered for a McDouble and a small fry back in that fucking shit. One sentence to go, you fucking stupid fuck. Oh my God. In fact, it only seemed to... In fact, it only seemed to have a... Come on. Deep breath. Here we go.
Engage brain, move mouth.
Like shifting a gear in a car.
Exactly. Let off the clutch slowly. This next one is called My Own Depression.
Okay.
Was this written by Scott Stapp?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
When I went through my own depression... When I went through my own depression... Okay. When I went through my own depression of divorce back in 2012 and 13, though, Out in the Cold found its way to my stereo a lot.
All right. Perfect.
Perfect. Got it. Keep that one.
That's a take.
That's a take. Next sentence.
All right. This is called Read the Words.
Yeah.
It simply did not translate outside of my little friend circle in high school. No. Read the words. It simply did not translate outside of my little circle of high school friends.
Completely different.
This next one is called These Three Songs.
Yeah.
These three songs are also those that... Son of a bitch. These three songs are also those that sound like they might not have... Come on. These three songs are also those that sound like they might not have been written. These three songs are also those that sound like they might not even have been written with the original batch of songs that were supposed to make twin turbos.
All right.
Got it.
This one is called These Are.
Okay.
These were... Fuck. These are the words of someone that was really hurting and completely... fuck.
Completely fuck. I'm buying this book. This one is called Touring Circuit.
Okay.
The haters may have hated the album, but Judas Priest was still a popular monster on the tour. God damn it, that was reading well, too.
The Turing.
The haters may have hated the album, but Judas Priest was still a popular monster on the touring. Fuck. The haters may have hated the album, but Judas Priest was still a popular monster on the touring circuit.
All right, got it right.
Got it. Only took 3 times.
It wasn't Turing.
Not Turing.
Turing. And this last one, this one is called With Wild Nights.
Okay.
With Wild Nights, Hot and Crazy Days, the song always felt like it was...
That's it.
That's it. Just fucking up. But see, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's really not.
So buy this fucking book. You're going to get a quality product after all this.
Yeah, you won't get all these fuck-ups, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take a short break. Let's play another tune here from the Turbo release. Do you have something you'd like to hear?
Go with Parental Guidance.
Okay, we can do that. All right, for those of you who are parents, thank God I was never one. But here's some Judas Priest from the Turbo release. And when does your book come out?
Friday.
Friday. This coming Friday?
Sir.
For Black Friday.
Black Friday release.
For us, it'll be Turbo Friday.
That's right.
All right. Well, here it is. It's Parental Guidance exclusively here
On your classic metal show.